Hello, dear friends. Essential oils are perhaps most well known for their ability to induce relaxation and relieve stress. As the research continues to evolve regarding the mechanisms behind this aromatic induced state of calm, their complexities as medicinal agents is becoming more respected. As a result, essential oils are now being viewed as therapeutic tools that offer a variety of benefits and are slowly being integrated into conventional medicine and mainstream. So, in this week's clinical tip, I want to provide you with an overview of one of my favorite topics. I want to discuss some of the exciting science that explores the many ways essential oils influence our biochemistry, provide stress relief, and modulate our mood. First, let's start with a broad overview of how essential oils regulate the HPA axis. The hypothalamic-pituitary-adrenal axis refers to the communication between the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the adrenal glands. This intricate bidirectional feedback between our brain and organs of our endocrine system is essential for regulating hormones and our psychological state during stress and physiological shifts. According to an article by the School of Aromatic Studies, Essential Oils for Stress, the hypothalamus in the brain detects threats and triggers the pituitary gland to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone, or ACTH. This stimulates the adrenal glands to produce cortisol, the primary stress hormone. Cortisol increases blood sugar, suppresses the immune system, and alters brain activity in order to prepare for fight or flight. Although in the short term, the stress response can be adaptive, chronic stress and cortisol secretion can lead to brain imbalances. These include burnout, memory loss, anxiety, and depression. Unrelenting stress can also result in hormonal issues, sleep disorders, excess inflammatory responses, blood sugar problems, and more. Thankfully, we have a wonderful intervention at the tip of our nose to mitigate the risks associated with long-standing upheaval. The School of Aromatic Studies continues. Modern science reveals that smelling or inhaling certain essential oils can help regulate the HPA axis, mitigate excessive cortisol release, and reduce anxiety, depression, and stress. For example, clinical trials show that lavender essential oil, Lavandula angustifolia, helps lower cortisol levels in patients undergoing stressful medical procedures. Research suggests several mechanisms may underlie the effect of inhaled essential oils on the HPA axis and stress hormone levels. First, there's a direct activation of hypothalamic brain regions that regulate cortisol release via odor perception pathways. Next, compounds entering the bloodstream through the lungs and can interact with hormone receptors. Third way, anti-inflammatory effects of terpenes protecting against neuronal damage that triggers cortisol release. And they can modulate neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine that interact with the HPA axis. So to summarize, the complex mixture of plant compounds and essential oils allow them to act through multiple pharmacological targets simultaneously to restore healthy HPA axis function. So what this excerpt describes is how essential oils' aromatic molecules can hijack the negative cascade of stress at the source. While their biological properties work in harmony to rebalance the nervous system and hormonal milieu, a profound and instantaneous shift in the emotional brain and our perception occurs. This powerful impact of essential oils on the mind and the body was demonstrated in one recent systematic review of 34 studies that was published in the Journal of Korean Academy of Nursing. For the article, researchers evaluated the effects of aromatherapy on menopausal symptoms, perceived stress, and depression in middle-aged women. 12 studies met inclusion criteria for methodology and were included for the final meta-analysis. There were 2 studies which were vigorous randomized trials. The results of the studies were reported as follows. Aromatherapy massage was favorably effective in reducing the menopausal symptoms compared to the control group and compared to the placebo group. Also, aromatherapy was effective in reducing stress and depression. Although most of the article was in Korean, If you're interested, you can find the list of essential oils from the randomized trials assessed in reviews on page 6 and 7 of the linked article in the video transcription. Here's some highlights. Of all the oils, jasmine oil was shown in a non-equivalent controlled group comparison trial to control salivary cortisol levels. Other essential oils studied to alleviate depression and manage stress were mostly used in combination. These included rose, lavender, basil, peppermint, tea tree, ylang-ylang, rose geranium, grapefruit, cypress, rosemary, eucalyptus, chamomile, and geranium. Now, the chemotype and species weren't indicated, but this was just a general overview. And again, all of those essential oils will be listed in the video transcript, so no worries. The authors concluded that there is limited evidence suggesting that aromatherapy for middle-aged women may be effective in controlling menopausal symptoms, perceived stress, and depression. I respectfully disagree with the use of the word limited because their conclusion was solely based on these 34 studies in a specific cohort of individuals. True, we can always benefit from more evidence and studies with women in clinical trials on aromatherapy. Still, in general, we have plenty of evidence on the benefits of essential oils for female health, stress, and emotions. In fact, Pam Conrad, a pioneer in aromatherapy, has published an evidence-based book and offers a medical education program on these subjects. Furthermore, essential oils have been shown to directly modulate cortisol in other populations. The review article mentioned how jasmine affected cortisol, but there are others. In fact, I wrote a whole series on essential oils for modulating the stress hormone. I'll summarize my findings in the next section. So in part 1 of my series on essential oils effects on stress and hormones, I reviewed specific studies on clary sage, neroli, and jasmine. I've spoken about these studies before if you followed some of my work and on my podcast, but they're worth mentioning here again. If we look at clary sage, one small study with 22 menopausal women in their 50s examined changes in neurotransmitter concentrations, cortisol, and thyroid stimulating hormone in relationship to the inhalation of clary sage oil. The researchers found that smelling this oil decreased cortisol, increased 5-HTP, the monoamine serotonin, and elevated mood. In a randomized study of 63 healthy postmenopausal women, researchers found that the inhalation of the essential oil of neroli had positive effects on menopausal symptoms, stress, and estrogen levels. Jasmine oil is another favorite for benefiting our physiology and our psychology. The Journal of Health Research reported that inhalation of this oil by 20 subjects caused an increase in beta wave potential, indicating increased alertness in the anterior and left posterior region of the brain on EEGs. Participants also reported a greater feeling of well-being and were less drowsy when inhaling jasmine as compared to resting and control conditions, which used almond oil. In my practice, I generally use clary sage to support women with low estrogen levels and who struggle with anxious thoughts. I have also found this oil to be helpful in many females who struggle with hot flashes. I do combine the essential oils, obviously, with a personalized protocol. So it doesn't usually just occur that people use clary sage and magically their hot flashes disappear. There's a whole foundation of health that we do go through. So I will use that disclaimer. Now, for those who have neurological stress impacting hormonal symptoms, I found that combining clary sage with a soothing sense of neroli and or jasmine oils to be the most beneficial. For someone who has anxiety-provoked hormonal imbalances, rose geranium and lavender seem to be a powerful combo. I have also used other blends that include all of these oils, rose geranium, lavender, neroli, and jasmine, with ylang-ylang to tame a woman's mood imbalance and alleviate cramping during menstrual cycles. Lavender and ylang-ylang oil have proven to be soothing both to men and women's hearts and stress levels. If we look at additional essential oils to alleviate stress that I use in my naturopathic clinic, probably one of the most famous and most used is lavender. It's been shown to benefit the brain, support emotional health, improve immune response, and alleviate anxiety. It has such convincing evidence for its use for anxiety that Germany has formulated it as a prescription medication for this indication. Bergamot essential oil is another popular essential oil used for soothing my clients in my naturopathic clinic. Clinical studies have supported it to have an overall positive role in reducing stress, alleviating cardiovascular excitement, improving nervous system tone as measured by heart rate variability, and alleviating anxiety. There's a table that I found from this particular study that outlines 7 studies on the impact of bergamot oil for mind body medicine. And you can get the link in the video transcript, of course. My favorite study within all those studies to demonstrate the power of bergamot oil is based on the response of 41 females to its aroma. It validates how inhalation of bergamot oil for 10 minutes improved heart rate variability, cortisol levels, mood, and fatigue. I often recommend diffusing bergamot in combination with lavender at night for athletes who are looking for ways to have a faster recovery of their nervous system during intense training. The duo is also helpful for my clients who are, quote, tired and wired, where their minds just won't stop and they can't shut off and they can't go to sleep. Rose and patchouli are other options I sometimes add into the mix. They can calm the fight and flight response, and they may even decrease adrenaline spikes in those with chronic overwhelm. Okay, so I have just scratched the surface of some of the mechanisms of how essential oils impact stress. We looked directly by the HPA axis, how they calmed cortisol, influenced mood, and I went over some specific studies on essential oils and their influence on our mind and body. Other mechanisms include their role on cellular receptors, acting to alleviate inflammation, provide antioxidant protection, and influencing our gut microbiome, which influences the gut-brain link. They can also directly modulate vagal tone and enhance neuroplasticity via psychoaromatherapy. I recently highlighted 2 psychoaromatherapy applications in my clinical tips, the aroma freedom technique and the cutting ties that bond exercise. And I'll put a link in the video transcript description to those specific tips, a post on essential oils for supporting the vagal nerve, and other study links discussed in this overview in the resource section. So there you have it. That's a lot to cover, but I really wanted to discuss how essential oils have the science behind them to back that they are more than just a relaxation aroma, but they actually have biochemical properties along with their odorant influence to impact our physiology and balance our mind and body. So let me know if you have some favorite essential oils you used to help decrease your stress and help with your mood. If you like this content, please head over to my YouTube channel and subscribe and provide feedback there, because this will help us reach more people and empower them with natural health information and safe and evidence-based essential oil education.